the word, the construct of normal. Where does it come from? How has it been used? What can we do about it? Those are the questions that have driven my work for 22 years. I often talk about how I went to Brown and excelled there. And then people will come to me and say, oh man, you overcame your dyslexia. There's actually a book called Overcoming Dyslexia, which states very clearly that dyslexia is a problem that you have to overcome. The reality is, I didn't overcome dyslexia. If I overcame anything, it was dysteachia. Like that's what I overcame. I overcame, the way that my differences were treated in environments designed for the idea that we should all be the same. And so at the heart of that, though it took me a long time to articulate it, is wrestling with this long history of normal as a dominant cultural value. Normal has a history, not a history of discovery, but a history of invention. Normal isn't a fact in the world. Some scientists didn't find the normal human being. It's a construct that was frankly created to perpetuate the marginalization of whole swaths of human beings, Black and brown folks, indigenous populations, LGBTQ plus folks, and of course, folks with atypical brains and bodies. And if it's been invented, constructed, well, then it can be deconstructed. It can be challenged. It doesn't have to define me, you, anybody else. But to say that normal has a history, to say that it's a history of invention, not discovery, does not mean that it's not real in the world. Normal has been put to nefarious usage. It's been used to disqualify human beings as less than, and then justify their marginalization, and in the most extreme, their extermination. The genocide of indigenous populations was scientifically justified by pseudoscientists talking about how some folks, European white folks, were normal and other folks weren't. And when it comes to folks with atypical brains and bodies, the incarceration and extermination was an explicit goal of the global eugenics movement, in which the Third Reich took its inspiration from American scientists. So that means that what's happened to folks with atypical brains and bodies is not a tragedy that we should feel bad about. It's a crime that's been perpetuated that we should be outraged about. And that leads to doing something about it, to being an advocate. What matters is trying to make things better for people, and that requires not just being an advocate for folks who learn differently, but it requires being an advocate, an ally, an upstander for all folks who have been discredited by this fictional construct of the normal human being.
For more information about learning disabilities, please visit ldonline.org. This video was made possible by a partnership between the National Education Association and WETA.